All right, you glorious grasshoppers. This is the hour. We couldn't even wait. We're a couple minutes early
Couldn't sleep last night.
because we know that so many people throughout the universes are
Counting.
waiting, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
From the time that we stopped, they went for like 2 hours last week. So from like 1 o'clock yesterday, or excuse me, last Monday till like today, people have been just been sitting there saying, I can't wait.
They probably haven't even eaten.
Right. They're probably fasting the whole time. Yeah. Probably fasting.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Yeah, just worked and just kind of watched some football yesterday. It was a good game actually. It was a college game Saturday. Alabama and South Carolina.
Oh, good game. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Well, the South Carolina coach kind of pulled a quick one on him.
Oh,
at the end of the game, and he put 12 guys on the field. You have to watch it, but they ended up beating Alabama.
Wow, very cool.
I think by 1 point.
You know what? I haven't watched. I should watch more college football. I've been stuck in the pro game. The pro game sometimes is like, geez, soft, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's so many teams, and there's so many, and like you see these games that are like 7-9 or whatever.
I know. Well, like even the Dallas-Detroit game. I'm a huge Detroit fan. Like Dallas just quit too. Like that CD. I know CD Lamb's a good player, but man, he's got an attitude problem. There's our buddy, Mr. Veteran out there in beautiful Chicago.
My man.
And the Bears are playing well. Those fingernail painting guys are doing well. Yeah.
Maybe that's been the secret.
Is Dick Butkus still alive?
Yeah. It was funny you mentioned that because Beth and I watched a documentary the other night on a guy by the name of Luke Carpenter, who was a running back for the Detroit, then the Packers, like 50s and then early 60s. Then he coached for a bunch of years, and it was about CTE.
Oh,
but Dick Butkus was on it. Beth goes, he's still alive. I quick Google said, yeah, he's very alive.
Right.
Yeah.
How was he? Did he get interviewed?
Yeah.
Because he played the game hard. If he hasn't.
Well, the thing too, back then their helmets were like these flimsy plastic. Some only had one bar on it. You remember back in the day?
Yeah.
Now they're much better.
He just passed. So thank you for the news.
He did pass.
Yeah. Just recently, I guess, a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
I don't know what I recently. Yeah. I thought he did. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's recent. Did you see the injury? Well, they're smart. I really admired them. The Detroit game where that Hutchinson got hurt, they didn't show the injury. I guess it was pretty gruesome. That was cool. Yeah. There's no point showing that.
No.
Yeah.
Feel bad for the guy.
Who's the guy? Was it actually Dak Prescott there a few years ago when he broke his ankle? Remember that? They showed that. Oh man.
Probably the most famous one was Joe Theismann.
Yeah. Oh man, that was.
Did I ever tell you the story about AJ Andreas Johansson?
No.
So he had played for the Swedish national team up to the age of 15, both for soccer and hockey.
Oh.
He was that good. And then he just obviously stayed with hockey. Well, I guess the guy he played with ended up playing for Manchester United. So there's a guy at the rink, Paul Kirby's great guy. He does, he does his Zamboni, all that kind of stuff. Been there forever. British dude, great guy. And he would get this bi-monthly magazine on Premier League soccer over in Europe. In England. And he would leave it in AJ's stall for him to read. So one day he comes in the room. He says, hey, listen, it's for AJ, but don't let him look at it until after the game. I said, why? He goes through it, and it's a picture of a Joe Theismann type of break, but on a soccer player.
Oh.
So I said, don't worry, I'm not going to jam his head up, right? Come in the locker room after the morning skate. There's AJ. So I'm thinking, magical thinking. What could happen? I don't know if it was first or second or third shift. I think they're playing Nashville. And he goes to the net, drives the net, and he comes back to the bench. I'm going, no, please, no. He fractured his wrist. He was out for like 10 weeks. But anyhow,
It reminds me. So when I was a kid, I broke my wrist, and it didn't sit properly. It's kind of on an angle.
I got the same thing.
Yeah. So we were playing a game with this guy. Dave Smith was our trainer. Did you ever know Dave?
Oh, yeah. I didn't meet him, but I remember him.
Good guy. Really good trainer and everything too. So really sharp with injuries and everything. And because of I'm sure like you, because of the injury, once in a while you jam the wrist and it hurts like it's old injury. So we were playing a game up in Edmonton. I went to hit somebody and jam my wrist and came back to the bench. I said, and I take my glove off and he didn't know that it was like that. Like he didn't know it was on an angle.
Already like that.
He thinks, and he says, what happened? He says, well, I broke my wrist. He said, well, you broke your wrist. I said, no. I broke my wrist like 30 years ago. And it's pretty funny. I felt bad for the guy.
Yeah, that's a bad one. I did it when I was 15. Remember the muscle bars on a bicycle?
Oh, yeah.
So I was going down the street, standing on the seat, and then I decided I'm going to try and surf. I let go of the handlebars,
Oh.
and immediately the front tire just went like that,
Oh.
and
Oh.
I went flying off. And I got up, and I'm going. My hand was spun around.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like
God.
15.
That's gruesome. Oh, that's terrible. My sister is a couple years older than me. She was a kid. We, at the farm, we had the gravel roads. She was riding her bike, and she had the little purse or basket or whatever. She was hanging on the front. Of course, it got jammed in the front tire. She goes ass over tea kettle into the gravel, face first in the gravel. Yeah. Of course, I'm sitting there dying laughing. It's like, you're 8 years old. You think it's really funny. Your sister goes.
Best thing you've ever seen.
Oh, my stuff. Roy Anderson. Yes, I know we've been spotty. Look at that. What's Adam? Is that Adam, man? Like he's got the A on his face there, the mask.
There is Apathy Man. Apathy Man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has all the powers of Superman. He just chooses not to use them.
Yeah. Barry Shelley, how you doing there, brother? How's your health? I shouldn't ask you. You're a machine.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah,
stronger than ever.
Yeah, I fell off an engine in 2000. Broke my left arm and tore my. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So you know what though? You probably kept on working too. You savage beast. Savage beast. All right, so we were talking before the show. I'm going through a little growth spurt here, a mental growth spurt, where I've taken some time here to do, and if we talked about this in the past, to purge my life of items, of people. And I want to ask you your opinion. Do you ever, and I've talked to a few guys and they get the same thing. So especially if you're this guy who's the strong guy, always doing things for other people. Now you've stepped back, you say, listen, I got to be careful here. I need to have some boundaries and, say no once in a while. It's okay to say no.
Absolutely.
But then you get a lot of people who, I think because you've been such a good guy in the past, now they feel like, okay, I'm going to play with Tom's mind. I'm going to play with Mark's mind. And they'll make comments like, what, are you getting soft? Like you don't want to do something. Are you getting soft?
Yeah.
Are you? And then the other one was, are you afraid of failure? And you're thinking, like, at first when they say it to you, you're kind of pissed. And you think, they're messing with me. They're trying to get me. And I'm like, what the God, what is that all about?
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with stepping back and just chilling for a bit.
Yeah.
You were doing a 3:30 every morning and like 20 shows a week or whatever. Podcast. Yeah. I mean, after a while, you just got to just,
But it's funny. In a lot of cases, people don't even know that I stopped doing it now.
Well, that too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the worst part of it.
I know. All right. Being a man, especially being the man that always shows up every day. That's like, this is a mental health issue that I don't see talked about very often. The man that shows up every day is always there for kids. If he gets divorced, whatever it is, he always pays his child support. He's there every weekend like he's supposed to be for his kids. He goes to all their sporting events, school events, and everything. He kind of gets shit on a little way because he's always there. So it's not a big deal when he's there. Now the guy that has, and no disrespect, there's people that have legitimate issues, drugs, alcohol. Now they're gone from their kids' lives. And then they can see these videos where it's such this great reunion when this guy hasn't seen his kids in 3 years. I go, well, where you been? Like it's
I got a friend. I won't give his full name. My friend Kevin. He's from Hell's Kitchen. Then he moved out to New Jersey like when he was 12.
Right.
And apparently his father showed up at his front door like 40 years after he left.
Oh. And
so Kevin said to him, I guess Route 80 is complete.
What's that, sorry?
I guess Route 80 is finished.
Yeah. Really? Because don't you think to yourself, okay, now you want...
It's females too. I mean, obviously, being a single mother, you got to work, you got to take care of the kids, you got to be...
Yeah.
Not everybody comes up to bat and
hits
a home run.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Like, you look at, and again, no disrespect. You admire people who have had alcohol problems and drugs problems. They've solved those issues and now they're going forward. But it's almost, I don't know I think I'm just kind of making a statement. I don't know if it's really some answer or whatever it is. It's just those guys that maybe we need to do more to thank those guys that show up every day and always.
I mean, in some ways we do. I mean, we
have Father's Day once a year.
Yeah, well, Mother's Day is only once a year too. So
yeah, true.
I think what you're getting at is true though. But when you're not doing it, that's when it's noticed.
Yeah,
not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah,
when you're doing, no one notices. When you're not doing that, hey, where's Tom?
Yeah, is that true? And then all of a sudden you show up and they go, "Wow, that's great. That's great that Mark's there. It's great that Tom's there."
Yeah.
Well, Well, yeah, but I've been there every freaking day. I don't know why. I guess I've just been thinking about all this stuff. I guess maybe as you get older too, you start thinking about.
Well, yeah, our priorities change a bit.
Yeah, because I'm sure you're the same way with your boys. You wanted to raise your sons to be, as did I, to be totally independent men, right? And not getting morbid, but someday we're going to no longer be here.
Yeah.
And you want your sons to care about you, but you want it to be that, well, okay, I miss my father, but I had great times with him. Now he's gone.
I can handle this.
Right. It's not like my life's falling apart, right?
Yeah, for sure. And both of my boys, they left home, I think at 20, and they never came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is unusual. I mean, not passing judgment, but a lot of kids now, I mean, still in their 30s living at home.
Yeah. I know that. I remember, like, I'm so proud of my boys, but like, I do notice, I thought about it. Like, we live within, like, one's 5 miles north of me, the other one's 5 miles south of me, and we have an incredible relationship, but we can go for weeks without seeing each other.
Well, and that's the way it's supposed to be. They have their own lives.
Yeah.
My younger son lives in Chicago up by Bill.
Yeah.
And then my other son lives in the city, and I very rarely see them. So, and what's cool about that, when you do, it's cool.
Yeah. It's not like people are pissed off at each other or whatever.
I hear from them every day. Don't get me wrong, they call me. Yeah. But they're on their own. They get their own lives now.
I know.
And sometimes it's pretty amazing to sit back and go, wow.
Yeah. Because again, like we've talked, I mean, it goes so fast, right? You remember when they were how old were you when you got divorced from their mother?
42-ish, something like that.
So the boys were how old?
Oh no, what am I saying? No. I was 30, 38, I think, 39. Around, 38 or 39.
So the boys were
were young.
4 or 5 years old?
Oh, younger, 3.5 in a year. Yeah. It was
See,
very difficult on me.
Yeah. I was very close too. Man, that was weird because probably like you, I never saw a lot of divorce where I grew up. It was rare. So I was more thought like, what have I done to my boys? Like I was more.
Yeah, me too. I felt really guilty and felt like I really let them down. But then I, talked to somebody, which is nothing wrong with that. And, this particular was a female therapist, and she said, "Hey, listen, doesn't mean you can't be a good father."
Yeah. And in fact, in some ways, maybe the same way, I think I ended up being a better father because I paid more attention. Like I wasn't just working all the time.
Yeah, in some ways, sure. Yeah, because you value your time with them.
Yeah.
And then, I have a friend of mine, Dan Cronin.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, whenever I have an issue in my head, I call him, and he's like, in one brief sentence, he straightens me out. It's like like he just slams you. So when their mom got remarried, I was freaking out. Like, who's this guy? He's gonna be living with my kids, blah, blah, blah. And I called up Dan in a panic. He goes, "Hey, number one, you're not that powerful. The world does not revolve around you. Give him a chance. Yeah. Give him a chance." Turned out,
that's true. Right. But that's easier said than done too, though. I mean,
it's your kids.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little easier for me because he had two boys as well. Oh, so it wasn't like, you know what I mean?
It wasn't like he was trying to steal, like he didn't have
or whatever.
Yeah. My older brother who passed in August, had issues like this with his kids when his health was failing. They wouldn't come see him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, one of my I don't know if I call it a regret. It's one of those things I wish I'd done. My grandfather, my father's father, who was played a huge role in my life. We're on the farm together all the time. Like he's really helped shape who I am. Mm-hmm. And he had hit a stroke after my grandmother died. He'd taken care of my grandmother. She was in a wheelchair. It was one of those deals that kind of his reason for living was kind of gone now because she was gone.
Sure.
So he kind of, I don't know if he gave up, but his health was, so he had the stroke, and he was in a old folk retirement home. Mm-hmm. And I didn't go see him. And my father had to come to me and say, and it was close. It wasn't a distance thing. It was like he was 15 minutes away. Mm-hmm. He said, "Tom, you really need to go see your grandfather." And I was like, "Oh God, And I went, and it wasn't until years later.
How old were you at the time?
I was late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, so that's understandable.
Yeah, I know. It is. I guess I get it. Because my boys would probably be the same way, and it wouldn't bother me. But it's just I look back and oh God, he did so much.
See now, but when you say you look back, the reverence is there.
Yeah, I probably appreciate who my grandfather was even more. And but it is funny, right? You look back. Oh. There's times like even Walt Kyle, who our buddy, who would coach with the Rangers when Mark was with the Rangers. and he and I played college hockey together. And when I left college, he had cancer in his hip. Had to get surgery and everything, and chemo. And I had just started my pro career, and we were close. We had lived together, and I totally blew him off. I wasn't there for him at all, like I should have been as a friend. And he was fine. I mean, he had lots of people around him. He was okay. But I did the same thing years later. I was like, Walt, I apologized to him. I said, listen, I just wasn't there for you. And he kind of laughed at me because I'm not big on apologizing, So it was kind of.
So it meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
Look, we're human. We all make mistakes, and
I know
it's the ability, like you did, to own up to it. Not that you really did anything purposefully.
Yeah.
It was, you were wrapped up with your career at the time and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally selfish. Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Not all of us, but many of us. But I know that there's people that are gone now that I wish I would have said, hey, should have. Yeah.
But do you feel like, so you say you should have said something, but do you feel like you lived a life with them that they know that you love them?
I don't have any guilt along those lines.
Right.
But I think maybe more so for me. So I was an adopted kid. Yeah. So I never knew my biological father, but my father, tremendous guy. I mean, and now that I'm older, I appreciate more of what he was about. You know what I'm saying? Looking back upon it. And I know that he instilled a lot of really good stuff.
That's an amazing thing for a father, really not your birth father, to really not just raise you, but make a difference in your life too. Like it's one thing, it's one thing to be the father and pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. But
and there's, so when he passed away, you go to the house and you start going through everything, right? And in 2004, I was very fortunate. Dan Cronin got me a job to go work the World Cup. Remember, we had 4 teams in Europe, 4 teams here. And in any event, when I was going through his stuff, he cut out every game from my father was not a hockey fan. He wasn't even a sports fan.
Right.
But just the fact that I was over there, I wasn't competing, I wasn't playing. Yeah. But he cut out all the, like when Sweden played Finland or whatever like that. And when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. That's true. Danny Erickson, our buddy, when Dad passed away, I lost some of the interests that we shared. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Like my mother, she died many, like probably 18 years before my father passed away. Yeah, it was 18. And we really lost touch with her side of the family, which was we were pretty close. And nothing happened. Nobody's mad at each other. It was just the kind of connection there was gone. And
yeah, I think that's, especially at our age, I think that's common. Because everybody starts going.
Yeah.
Not too many Indians left on the reservation.
I know. So this is really, I don't know if this is a good question or kind of, so terrible. But if you were to die tomorrow, how do you think your sons would handle the whole thing? There's the gorgeous Beth.
Yeah. I'm sure they'd be very upset, right. And I mean, the normal reaction, I would assume.
But I mean, they were also, like we said before, they're probably, okay, I miss my father, but we had such a great life together. It's time now to move on, right?
Yeah, I don't think you move on. Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of just going forward, but those memories would always be there.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
So if I tapped out now, it's all right.
What's that? Sorry?
If I tap out right now on the show, it's fine.
Yeah. I don't know why. I guess I've been thinking, I guess I'd never thought of stuff before.
Yeah. Because we're getting older, we start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I saw.
But then again, I can go through a laundry list of guys and some women, but mostly guys that have been gone for a long time already, that were my age.
Yeah.
Different things. So I think we're pretty fortunate to have made it.
Yeah.
We're what's this, top of the 7th, I guess, kind of for us.
Is that what it is? Top of the 7th?
Yeah, top of the 7th. Yeah.
And given the life we led when we were younger, we're probably like, how the heck did we?
I'm surprised I got past the 3rd inning.
It is funny.
I should have called in for a relief pitcher.
Yeah. I talked to my buddies that I was, played with. A lot of guys I played with in the past. And we're all like, I don't mind saying it, Dave Silk, because we did a podcast with him. We played in the Indian Olympic team.
Yeah.
And when we were together, oh man, some of the stuff we did was just, when we did, I think I've talked about this before, we did the podcast together. We actually said, like, he had saw some guy that was a bartender at a bar in Rye that we used to go to every day. And the guy looked at him, he goes, how are you? I think he asked, how's Tommy doing? So he goes, oh, he's doing great. He goes, "How are you two still alive?"
Yeah.
And when Silky told me that the guy said that, I just died laughing. I was good because that's his view, like of him watching.
What he could see. Yeah.
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 Oh, funny stuff. Oh, that's right too. William's been married 33 years. Really, that's
amazing. God bless.
Yes,
33 more, brother.
And you know what? That is it's because you can't. That's just not easy. It just doesn't happen, right? You gotta work at it too. That's right. Happy Columbus Day.
Yep.
How are we feeling about Christopher Columbus? A lot of bad stuff about our buddy Chris.
I don't know. I got better things.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm just overwhelmed by it all.
Really, they talk about how bad he is, and then you look at our politicians now, and you go,
"Yeah, exactly."
Right. Here's one. Here's a headline. So they're now, people are saying that they call them conspiracy theorists, talking about how the government can control the weather relating to the hurricanes.
They can't even do. I'm going to kill it right now. They can't even deliver mail.
Well, but my only thing is, so Biden's coming out and go, "Oh, this is stupid." Well, cloud seeding is something that's been around since, like you told me, and I looked it up, since the 40s, and it's a patented process. So don't say that it's there. Now, to what level they can.
I don't think they can control the direction of a hurricane. Kind of difficult.
You never know, though, bud. You never know.
Who knows?
They told us that weapons of mass destruction are in Iraq, too. We all believe that. They told us the air was clean around ground zero right after 9/11.
Governor Whitman.
Yeah, you remember that?
Whitman. Yeah.
I looked that up, and not that makes a big difference because hundreds of people have died because of her statements. But
more than that, I think they actually reached a point now. It's
yes,
the same number or surpassed how many were actually killed on that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So people that don't know, Christine Todd Whitman, she was the head of the EPA at that time.
EPA,
right? Yeah. So right after 9/11, when that's okay. That's all right. Right after 9/11, she came out the next day and said that the air was clean around ground zero. There's no problems. So all those first responders kept coming down to the site to help try to rescue people, and they didn't wear any protection or anything like that. So
there was a lot of cancer and respiratory issues.
Yeah.
And what have you.
Yeah. Danny Erickson, what do you got going there, brother? My daughter, because of depression and autism, doesn't share much of a relationship with me, but I take it for what it is. It's still,
Yeah. And that's just the way to handle it, Danny.
Yeah.
That's exactly the way to do it, brother.
Isn't that the thing with family stuff? Like when stuff's going on with your family, you think your family's totally messed up, but every family's got.
Behind every door is a story.
Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Families. And again, my extended family are great people. So out in the farm where we were, if they'd have family get-togethers, it would be at somebody's farm, and they'd have picnic tables set up. You're out in the open, it's beautiful. It was a great time. But I remember as a kid, they'd all be sitting around and chatting away. Somebody from the group would get up and walk away, go to the bathroom, whatever. So all the remaining people would sit there and talk about the person who walked away. That person would come back, another person would leave, and they talked about the next person.
That's awesome.
I was like, I remember as a kid thinking to myself,
yeah, how's that working?
Yeah. Oh God. That's we all. Yeah, I guess we all.
Well, now I have my scorecard grew because, I have a sister, Carol. She was adopted. She's from Atlantic City. I was born in Patterson, so we're not blood, but it's my sister, right?
Right.
I don't know. Right before COVID, Beth got Ancestry, so we did the Ancestry.
Oh.
Yeah, and a year later, I get an email from Ancestry saying, "Hey, we found somebody that went on Ancestry, and they have 100% DNA match, as you do. And they'd like to communicate with you." I said, "Yeah, whatever." So that started, and then like 3 weeks later, Beth and I are at a barbecue with two of my half sisters and my birth mother.
Oh, there. I think you told me this story.
Yeah, so it was kind of like the birth mother thing was like it was just some random woman to me. Like there was no
really.
Oh yeah, less than zero connection. Not her fault, but I mean, my mother's my mother.
Right.
And because I was only 10 weeks old when I was adopted, so if they had not said anything, I would not. But in any event, so now I have. It turns out 3 half sisters. One lives in Florida. She was just in that storm down there, and so like now the scorecard's getting, And I told them, I said, "Listen, you're not getting presents like around the holidays, so just forget that."
Right.
But anyhow, it's pretty cool.
So it's interesting about if you don't mind me asking about your mother. Because I mean, obviously that's your mother. I mean, it's there's some natural bond there, but because there's no
No, there's no bond there because like, so the most intimate part of a mother or child relationship is at birth.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that. And I don't hold any grudge. I mean, listen, I had a great life. I was really, in fact, what happened was she already had, she was only, I think 21 when she gave birth to me, but she already had my older half sister, Lynn, who's 17 months older. So she had her when she was like 18.
Oh.
And her parents said, hey, listen, you're living here with us with a baby, put the baby up first.
Oh, really? So she told you that's what happened?
Yeah. Well, no, she didn't. My birth mother did not tell me. My sister told me this, half sister. And, I think the conversation was give the baby a chance. And ironically, all those years down in Patterson in the boxing gym, one in particular, they were living like 2 blocks down the street. I had no idea.
Oh.
Yeah. And there were times in Patterson where people come up and start up a conversation with me. I'm like, I don't know you.
Oh.
It turns out I have cousins down there and stuff like that.
So they knew who you were, but you
No. They must have confused me with someone else in my family that, unfortunately for them, looked like me.
So do you think if you had not ended up with a mother and father like you did, an adopted mother and father, that there would have been
incarcerated, dead, or by now? Sure.
What's that, sorry?
I would have been incarcerated or dead by now. Probably.
Oh, really?
Well, Patterson's a pretty tough place to grow up. Yeah.
And do you think you would have been like bitter because your natural parents didn't raise you?
What do you mean?
You're natural, like you're born. Right. Would you have been bitter, do you think, if you didn't have? So now you've got this adopted family who ended up being just like your family.
It's my family, yeah.
Right. So if you had not been with them, do you think you would have been bitter more towards your mother, your natural mother and father, because they?
Well, I would not have known my father because he got in the wind. So he was gone. I guess he must have found out she was pregnant with me and he took off.
Right.
I probably saw a sonogram and went, I'm out.
Penis is too big.
Yeah. But no, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't think I would have been mad. You know what you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have been normal to me. This is my life.
Yeah.
And I count my blessings every day, man, because from where I would have grown up to where I did, big difference.
Yeah.
And the opportunities I had and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah. And Danny, I need to apologize because when I first read that, for some reason, I didn't see that it was your daughter. And I realized, because I've spoken to Danny's daughter a couple of times, and she's a very sweetheart, but and he's very open to us. And it is tough. You got to imagine it when your daughter, who it's not her fault, obviously, right?
Right.
So, yes, I was able to carry on after my parents passed, but there's a slight dull. Yep.
Oh, that's always going to be there. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it depends how it happened too. Like my parents had died, I don't mind, terrible deaths. My mother had she had breast cancer, removed her breast, the cancer came back. She had like a 5-year battle in and out of the hospital. And I'm a big believer. It's really changed my way of thinking of this. And I want to be careful. I don't want to influence somebody else or insult somebody else for how they handle things. But I think all the treatments they gave her made her situation worse.
Yeah, I think part of the problem, it's a conundrum. Like, we want people to live.
Yeah.
But what's the quality of life? And we just don't, and I don't know that we ever did have a way to figure out an ease of end of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do we just slide into that?
But I tell you, and this is a really touchy subject, but I read recently this woman over in, I can't remember, it was Switzerland or someplace. Mm-hmm. They created this machine.
Yeah.
That she crawled into. It was supposed to be all legal. It was like it was made through, what is it? Did they do they do it online. It comes like a printer.
Oh, a 3D printer.
3D printer.
Yeah.
And it's made to be, it's a dignified way of passing where you crawl into it, you push a button, puts you to sleep, and then you die. And there's a lot of, I researched it more because I really never thought about it. It's like, man, an older person who's decided, listen, this is enough. And I want to be, this is careful. I guess I'm getting into some touchy subject here because I don't want to.
Yeah, no, it's really a tough decision. I mean, and it's tough on the family. Like you, my dad had cancer. It was really drawn out over 8 to 10 years when he was really sick.
Yeah.
And it grinds you down. I remember going into the hospital on Christmas Eve, like for 3 years in a row, going, "It's got to stop." Man.
Yeah.
This is hard.
It's hard on everybody else, but
then I had to remind myself, well, if it's hard on me, how do you think it is for him?
Right.
Yeah.
But do you think well, okay, so I'll use my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. He had a stroke, I believe. We haven't really talked to each other about 10 years. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened. And he had a stroke, I believe it was, during this 10-year period of time. And in Canada now, they've legalized euthanasia. Yeah. So they had him, I don't know the proper terminology. They helped end his life. And at first I thought, well, that's kind of weird. But then I thought, well, and apparently there's a whole process you have to go through. Where you can't just make this rash decision. Okay, that's enough. Mm-hmm. And they made the decision that he didn't want to live the life he was living at that point.
Yeah, I think, well, the approach here in the States right now is when someone's, and this is not across the board, but when someone's really terminally ill, palliative care, where they just try to keep them as comfortable as they can be, knowing that they're going to, but it's all over the place because, disease is different for everybody. And there's so many different types of, especially later life disease. I mean, we usually die from cancer or cardiovascular disease when we get to a certain age. When they say die of natural causes, that's everybody dies of a natural cause.
Yeah,
if you think about it, unless it's an accident. But speaking of morbid,
what's that?
Speaking of morbid, subject,
yes, we are in the morbid category. Yeah.
So the Jets are on tonight.
the Giants yesterday too.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Even though I gotta say this, Shesterkin's out of his mind.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a $12 million player.
Oh, okay, let's get into this. Come on. Okay, come on.
So here's my opinion.
Okay.
Goaltending is like pitching. It could all go south in a week. All of a sudden, and that's it. And I'm not saying that's going to happen to him, but he's been kind of inconsistent at times. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tie up that kind of money on one guy for a long-term contract when you're already stuck with a couple other plugs? I won't mention their names. Right. You can't get rid of. Right. So do you want to spend 12 on him, or do you want to get one guy at 6 and like 4 guys at whatever, $1.5 million?
Great topic. I'm glad you brought this up. So now the agent in me.
Exactly.
In me. Okay. So and I hear you. So the Rangers have choices. They can say, like you said, okay, we don't look at Colorado when they won the Stanley Cup. They had Darcy Kemper, who people don't look at as a number one, probably a 1A goaltender, probably making $6-7 million a year. Vegas won with a guy, I can't remember the guy's name now, that they won with as goaltender. Now you look at Tampa, won with Vasilevsky.
Great goaltender.
Right. Would Tampa have won the cup without Vasilevsky? Well, we don't know, but
maybe.
Yeah.
Pretty good team.
Right. So the Rangers now say, okay, we've got this guy. We've offered him, if the stories are correct, we've offered him 8 years, $11 million a year, which is more than Carey Price was the highest paid goaltender, like $10.5 million a year. That guy, that Swayman, just signed in Boston for $8.5, $9 million a year. So you see, so the Rangers say, okay, no, we're not paying Shesterkin $11 million or $12 million a year. He made the decision that once the season starts, the negotiations stop. So now negotiations have stopped. They can now say, okay, let's see what happens during the season. We could go on a long run. He could play a big role in it. And then we could try again to sign him. But at that point, he's saying, okay, I went through the whole year. I'm a free agent. June 1st, I think it is, whatever it is. Or no, it's probably July 1st now because the season goes. He said, well, no, I'm going to shop myself around. And then, or they say, we're going to walk away from him. We're going to trade him.
Is he a UFA or an RFA?
UFA.
Okay.
So now you're going to trade him, but who's going to trade for a guy like that his contract's expired, right? What are they going to give? Maybe they give you something for him.
Yeah.
But why would they do that, right?
That's the problem. The rumor is, I saw this morning, LA wants him. But what are they willing to give up?
Well, that's the other thing. So now they've decided, okay, we're going to get rid of him. Now now you get rid of him during the season. Now you've got Jonathan Quick, who's a proven goaltender. He's only got a year or two left.
Right.
Now, what else do you have coming up, or what else do you think you can get? If you think Jonathan Quick's enough to help you win a cup with this group that you have, because clearly this team's a contender, right? So now you trade him, and you get a lot for him. Now, or the other thing is, now a lot of people think like with the Islanders with Tavares, They didn't get him signed in. They just let him go. But what they did was they bought themselves cap space, right? And that's value, right? So now if Shesterkin, let's say they're going to go to $11 million, and now they say, no, we're not going to pay him that now. So that's $11 million in theory that is off your cap.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you can sign 2 or 3 other pretty good players for $11 million, right?
I guess the question is, you have to decide as an organization, is this the lineup? Is this the personnel we think we can win the cup?
Right.
Or do we have to kind of step back and say, well, we need to rebuild?
Okay. But okay, that's a great point. So I think last summer was the time that they were thinking that. And for a few reasons, now the Trouba situation was one of them with his wife and the contract and everything. They've decided, okay, no, this is the group. This is we're going forward. We're going to take another shot at it with this group. And listen, there's probably 8 or 9 teams in the NHL that are all contenders to win the cup, and the Rangers are in that group, and they've got as good a shot as anybody else at doing it. So,
I mean, I don't want to harp on anybody, but you know who I'm talking about. He just
Trouba.
What's he doing? I mean, he's turning pucks over. And
yeah.
He doesn't seem to have any affect out there. I mean, it's 2 games in, but this is a history with this guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he'll score 15 goals in one shift.
Right. So with Trouba, I'd go, okay, the argument then is for me, when he first got here the first year was not good. I think he tried too hard to live up to the contract. Second and third year, I think he played really well. They made him captain. He was really playing well. Last year was not a good year. Again, I thought he was hurt. I thought he's just got back to trying to do too much. They bumped him down to the 3rd pairing. So now he's trying to show that he's worth more than that. And you think of what's going on. Like, he's captain of the team. And now he gets bumped from maybe 2nd pairing down to 3rd pairing. And
see, I wasn't talking about him. I don't have a problem with him.
Okay.
It's a center.
Okay.
So that narrows it down. It's Zibanejad. I mean, I just don't see how you win with this guy. He's just not.
I know. Yeah, because you look at the teams. So he's their number 1 center, right?
Yeah.
So you look at number 1 centers. Let's go back. So Florida's got Barkov. And then they get guys like Kachuk or Savages out there. Go back to Tampa with whoever. I mean, you could Stamkos, whatever.
Stamkos and the rest of
the kid. You look at Florida, like Zibanejad's a really good player. He hasn't got that just like get out of my way, I'm spearing you in the face kind of mentality, right?
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be that, but I mean, it would be nice if he did.
Yeah.
But maybe he needs to be sat. I know that'll never happen. But, maybe he needs.
Yeah, I think if you're going to coach him and have him on your team, you have to understand this is what he is.
Yeah.
And now there's negatives to that. There's not as physical maybe as you want, but there's the positives. And the positives are like, man, power play.
It's interesting. This morning I was watching this thing, and LePerrier, I guess, what's he, an assistant with Philly, and it must have been a preseason game, so he probably had a lot of kids in the lineup, and he was saying, listen, if you're a goal scorer, go out there tonight and score goals. Yeah. If you're a shot blocker, block shots. Yeah. If you're whatever, but he's not doing what he needs. What his game is, he's not producing. Zibanejad. He's not producing points. No, I just don't. I don't see it. But again, this is a history. He'll go that, and then all of a sudden he'll score, like I said, 15 goals in one shift.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, and that has been the knock with the Rangers. If you like 2 years ago when Jersey beat them out, there wasn't much of a pushback, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get it out of him. It's just, that's who he is. I mean, so.
Yeah, and here's a good point too. So Drury, I think Drury will come up with a solution. Yeah, well, and that's a good point. So I was kind of surprised that the contract. Well, on one side, I was surprised that the contract offer of 8 years, $11 million got leaked. Mm-hmm. The other part of me is those things always get leaked.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard not to have a contract offer get leaked like that, because I think he knows. Okay, now that it seems like it hasn't been a big deal, but once that contract offer is out there, that people are like, oh, he's being selfish. He's hurting the team. He should sign. Because here's the deal with Shesterkin. Going back to like what he thinks he should get. So most of the number 1 goaltenders are in that $8, $9, $10 million a year range.
That's a lot of money.
Right. Now he's looking at it and says, am I the most valuable player on the New York Rangers? Some people would say he isn't. Some people say he is. If he thinks he is, a lot of people think he is too. Panarin's making 11.5 or 11.6, so he wants to get more than Panarin. That's the logic. So he was saying, well, you got to compare him to other goaltenders around the league. Well, yes, but he's saying, no, I'm comparing myself to everybody else on the New York Rangers.
How many cups has he won?
Zippo.
So that brings you back to an old story, but Ralph Kiner, he led the National League. This is 1,000 years ago, but 59 home runs. This is before he had agents, before he had, making like 25 or 12,500 a year or whatever. But he goes in and you sit down with the owner of the team back then. You just sit down and they give you a contract. He goes, it's the same contract as last year, or maybe went up $500. He goes, yeah. He said, but I led the National League in home runs. He goes, we still came in last place.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. There's always an argument for. And the other thing is, you're right. If Shesterkin's rolling the dice on himself, he could play fantastic and have a great year.
Or he could crap the bed this year, and then oh well.
And that's like let's say in the worst case scenario he doesn't play well, but he's still going to get a contract, right? He's still going to get $7 or $8 million for 4 or 5 years. So it's not like he's losing all $88 million. Yeah. But he's still got a lot to gamble.
Yeah, that's a tough contract to sell for that.
Yeah.
For what he brings to the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't win without a goaltender. He can still game, so you can, but.
Right. And the other part of it is too, it's Madison Square Garden. It's MSG Network. It's advertising. And now I don't think Drury is probably going to be getting pressure from Mr. Dolan for that, but he understands the way the business works. I mean,
selling shirts.
Shesterkin's a marquee name, right? So that's a tough one, Drury. But it's a great problem to have for Drury as a general manager. It's just like now. Okay, so first game he gets a shutout. He's in total control. Second game, that's in 5 or 6 goals. So it's going to be an up and down ride. Yeah. And that does, as much as he can say all he wants, it doesn't bother him.
Well, in Shesterkin's defense, he can only play as well as the team plays too. So.
Yeah.
I'm getting too excited here.
Let me see here. Morning, fellas. The Rangers need another Avery. Well, they need another Keith for the first time. You glorious human being. I'm going to slightly disagree with you. Not totally. They need another guy that plays with an edge. Mm-hmm. He got a little carried away. It was all about Sean Avery. That was the problem with him. It's got to be about the team.
Yeah, they need some sandpaper for sure.
Yes. Yeah. But and I agree with you. But the game, I watched some of the fights now that happen, and the guys have got both gloves on, and they're.
By the way, why are baseball players wearing oven mitts now?
I know. Oh,
what the hell is that?
Okay, now here you got me going on baseball.
Yeah.
So big difference between the regular season and playoffs. Mm-hmm. So in regular season, it's like they want to get themselves thrown out of the game. The umpire will make a bad call on a ball or a strike, and they turn around and start yelling at them. And they know as soon as they turn around and start yelling at them, they're going to get thrown out of the game. Yeah. But the playoffs, they don't do it. It's like they want to get thrown out of the game. I think they want. It's like that's enough.
Why the Mets going back to that Asian dude, Senga?
I know. Oh, it didn't work. It worked out okay the first time around against Philly.
Pretty lucky though.
Yeah, he let that one home run go, but
Dodgers look pretty tough to beat.
Well, they're hitting and they're pitching too, right? Yeah.
That's a good team.
Yeah.
But you never know.
So the Mets play at 4:00 today. The Yankees play at 8, I think.
I believe that's it. Yeah.
And then the Jets play at 7:05. They're 8:00. Their game will be done at 8:30.
No, the game will be done at 7:00.
What do we got here? The Rangers have to be aware of the fact that a professional athlete's game can drop rather quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, remember Steve Bass on the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Yeah.
Pitcher. He had a 20-game season or something like that. Then the next year, he's throwing the ball up into the vending machines. He was awful. Yeah, just remember.
Do you notice the Mets catcher yesterday?
Yeah.
He was the one time the guy threw it into the dirt. He pulled his mask up, and he probably shouldn't be doing this, but he had that look on his face like,
"What are you doing?"
What is this? It's pretty funny, actually.
Can you explain? Because I didn't know. I don't really watch that much baseball anymore. But the one knee down, they're saying it's better for if how does that change? Like, if there's a catcher out there, let me know. Maybe William Hayes, because he's a good baseball guy.
we know, you know what I think it is? They do these studies, these analytics.
Too much.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's always well, yeah, but happy Gobbles Day. That's right. Thanksgiving. I know it's Thanksgiving in Canada, but it's also coming up. Thanksgiving here. I love Thanksgiving. Oh, the turkey smell.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a confession. One of my bugaboos is bacon.
Bacon.
Oh, love bacon.
Oh, okay.
So I got bacon in the fridge. I went to Costco, got like these, they get the 4-pack of the big thing. So I put 3 in the freezer, and I try to be, I got to tell you, I've got to brag here. And it's not like me. I don't like to be bragging about things. But I've got my sourdough bread down.
To a science.
Oh my God. Fluffy.
So make your BLT on that bread.
Yeah, I know. I had bacon and eggs, and so I get the sourdough bread, put a little bit of butter on, and I put it in the same pan as where the bacon was, so you get all the bacon grease. Oh,
I tell you, I got in trouble. I made like once every couple of weeks, I'll make like a frittata, right?
oh yeah.
And I put chicken in it. And Beth's like, "You put chicken in this?" I go, "Yeah." With an egg? Like,
what is a frittata?
it's an omelet.
Oh,
So what you do is it's like an omelet, but then you stick it in the oven, and
Right.
it's got.
and Beth gets the chicken in the omelet.
Well, because she's like that's like kind of like ethically wrong. You're putting the egg with I said I never really looked at it that way, but you got a point there.
But here we go back to now marketing. So as my youngest son Cody debates me a little bit on this. So we've of the belief that back in the 40s they came up with the marketing to get us to figure that breakfast was more like bacon and eggs. That's what breakfast was. But the reality is, breakfast before that was you could do what you want. You could have chicken.
Well,
rice.
from my understanding, breakfast used to be what was left over from dinner. So back in the day,
Right.
But I think probably what happened was because you grew up on a farm. So what do you have? You have eggs. You have
Right.
hogs. You have.
But they
Yeah.
claim there's some people that believe, if you look it up, that they hired a marketing guy. The people that make sausage and bacon hired a marketing guy.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
It was Van Gogh or some famous something. I don't know. It was his nephew who was a marketing guru, and he got everybody to believe through his marketing that breakfast consisted of bacon and eggs. That's what breakfast was supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, breakfast can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, but a lot of people think it's got to be bacon and eggs.
Yeah, no, it's like the American staple.
Are you a French toast guy? Do you like French toast?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have it now, but I used to. If it was like I like the thick.
Oh yeah. So I cut my sourdough nice and thick, and because and sourdough is even better a couple of days later when it's a little bit drier, and then now you soak it in the eggs, and it just soaks up the eggs and everything. Are you as big on sourdough as I am at a health basis that it's healthier?
If it's probably the only bread I would eat. I don't really eat bread, but if I was going to eat one, it would be sourdough for sure.
Supposedly it's really got a lower glycemic level, right? So
Glycemic, and I think there's enzymes in there that are good for your digestion and stuff. Anything that's sour, like pickles and stuff like that, the fermenting is really good for your gut.
Oh, okay. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Because like I've got my sourdough starter, and it's like when you put your nose in
Pretty
there.
tough.
Oh yeah. And that's why I know. Like that's why I'm so proud of myself. I got the starter going and everything now. So.
Do you ever have stink heads?
Ever have stink heads?
Yeah.
Were you fart in somebody's head?
No. So there's a guy, Andrew Zimmerman. He's got a TV show called Weird Food or something.
Right.
And apparently this is what Eskimos do. They take the head of the fish and they bury it like down by the sand, by the water, and they leave it there until it gets. I don't know. It's safe to eat. Because it's like a delicacy for them.
Right.
And they'll pull it out, and he was eating it.
It's just a
and
fish head.
Yeah, and it's like rotted or something. I don't know if it's like a fermentation process or whatever it is. It's a staple up there.
Wow.
And this guy he travels a world eating. This is the only time I ever saw him go.
How about smelling salts? Somebody got in trouble. Some football player, they gave him smelling salts, and everybody was mad at them that he gave him smelling.
Why? It's just ammonia.
Well, I know, but I know John Tonelli, we coached together too. These 14-year-old kids were doing the smelling salts before the game, and he flipped out when he found out. And I go, "What's your problem? It's ammonia."
It's just ammonia.
Yeah. Oh God, that is the thing. I mean, you watch. I know we've talked this before too, but you watch these videos, and everybody's got a different theory on everything. I love, and again, the guys that come out and go, "This is the best thing. This is going to change your life when you do this." Yeah, right. Okay, Keith Morano, our buddy there in New Jersey. What town does he live in New Jersey?
He's in Pompton Lakes, which Keith's like 15 minutes from me.
Oh, pumping. Keith Morales is pumping Pompton. That's what he does. He's pumping Pompton. I'm taking my nephew pig hunting in March. Because love that. Oh,
he'll trade you for the sourdough recipe.
Yes, definitely. That is a deal right there. Yes, because it isn't like all natural. Like the problem with the processed food, which bacon is in that category, it's got salt in it or other chemicals.
Yeah, you can buy. I buy uncured bacon.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I got to take out a mortgage for that.
Probably what I'm going to do tonight. Now I'm thinking about it. But I put it in the oven now. You put it on parchment paper.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't shrink up. And you put it in at I got to remember. Now I got to look it up. I think I want to say 450, but whatever it is, you put it in there. Goes quick. You got to keep your eye on it like 10 minutes, and it's done.
So it doesn't shrink up. So you can't like put your penis in there too. Right? It doesn't shrink up. So that's too far gone.
Yeah, we're way past that. But anyway, but what I like about it, then when I make the frittata, I have the full strips, and you can lay them, in there.
But do you like your bacon crisp, or can you have it?
Yeah, I don't like it overdone, but I don't like it underdone either.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like your penis, same thing. Right.
Pretty much.
Right. Yeah. Here's our girl Gina from up in I think Ridgefield, Connecticut is where Gina is. Gina was really good in the book process. She's
that sounds good.
She's taking care of the graphics. And you need to have peppers and onions on the bread and more bacon grease. Oh,
yeah. Hungarian. That sounds good.
Oh yeah. Oh.
If bacon is like, if women would just wear bacon scent.
Oh yeah. Really, no perfume. Yeah, no perfume, nothing.
You want to get a dude, man, just wear bacon.
Oh, no kidding. Seriously, if women only knew what men wanted, like no perfume, like
they never come near us.
Do men really like the smell of perfume? Like, do you like the smell of perfume?
Not too much of it. I mean, if it's there's some I like, but
gentle. Yeah, to me, it's like all natural. Like, like really rub some bacon in the armpits.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking there, but yeah. You
know what? There's more and more commercials out there now about deodorants, and now they're getting braver.
Oh man, look, it's a pet peeve.
I know.
That lady, take a shower, woman. For 48 hours. I'm like,
it isn't just for the armpits anymore. They get right into
the since she's your butt crack and too much information, man. Do your thing. I don't need to know about it. I don't tell you about the weird shit I do in the bathroom. All right, leave me alone.
This young girl did a video and it's hilarious. She goes, I just realized men don't shave their buttholes. But do you got to trim yourself? Don't you trim the butthole? Because then when you wipe, you get all the dingleberries and everything.
I never really put any thought into it.
Really?
No.
But no dingleberries or nothing like that?
I haven't checked, but so far so good. I mean, I don't.
Well, you mean you don't have to check? I mean, sometimes when you wipe, you just
if you clean yourself properly, you should be fine.
Yeah, but if you got a bunch of hair down there, you wipe it, and all of a sudden you can feel the hairs being pulled out.
I guess I'm not that hairy.
Oh, okay. So I don't take care. If I don't maintain mine, I'll tell you.
I don't have a dream catcher down there.
How about when you shower too? Like sometimes you shower and you haven't. There's chunks coming out of there if you don't.
No, never happened.
So now, when you wipe, do you wipe like we've touched on this, and I think this is really important though. So you wipe. Do you wipe till the toilet paper is clear, or do you say, okay, I wipe 3 times and that's it, no matter what?
Not till we're done.
Not till we're done. Gotcha. Interesting.
We came close to another toilet paper shortage here in the country, right?
Yeah.
With the dock strike, everybody was running out and buying toilet paper again.
Why is it the toilet paper?
I don't get it.
There's got to be some rationale behind that. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
So I guess you can go back to the pandemic.
That's where it started. Yeah.
Right. So now everybody just thinks, okay, we got to get my
toilet
pandemic.
Paper.
So we're a bunch of sheep, I'll tell you. Oh my God.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No kidding. Is that true? How about the whole? Now one of the big words used in politics now is misinformation.
Yeah, that's the pseudonym for lying.
Yeah.
Bold-faced lying.
And I like how the politicians goes, oh, there's so much misinformation. I go, well, yeah, because you guys are doing it.
You guys are spewing it.
How about, and you touched me too. So there's a guy, Trump was in Coachella or whatever it is.
Yes.
California. Yeah. So now there's a guy the police stopped with guns and
passports.
He was going to go in and try to assassinate Trump.
He got through the first layer of defense.
Right.
Yeah, because he had a press pass or something.
So like ABC News, a lot of places don't even mention it. They're
not even talking about it. In fact, I saw a press conference this morning with the sheriff.
Oh.
And one of the reporters said, "Don't you think you're being a little dramatic?" He looked at her and goes, "What?" The guy had guns and this is like, we're talking about somebody that like,
oh yeah.
they just,
It's so obvious now that the majority of the media just hates Trump. They'll do anything.
it's really kind of crazy.
Yeah. But before, I think they at least tried to hide it a little bit. Now it's just outright.
I don't care. Yeah. But you have to remember, a good, like 50% of this country apparently feels that way about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nobody on this, or I shouldn't say on, in this country that says, I don't have an opinion on Trump. Either you're on his team or you're not. There's nobody saying, I don't really give it a.
Did you see some of the videos? Because there was a big thing during the debate that Kamala was wearing these earrings, with speakers. So there's another video that's out now. She was doing a very casual interview or a conversation, and nobody's there. And all of a sudden she's talking. Oh, I'm in the middle, and she's holding.
She's covering her mouth while the mic is here.
So it's obvious, and nothing else was there but the.
It's a live broadcast.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's frightening that I'm not picking on her, because I'm going to talk about politicians in general.
Right.
That they reach these levels. We have this, for some reason in this country, we believe the government can do everything better than anybody else.
Oh, I know. Oh God, yeah.
And it's the biggest lie going, or the biggest.
It's the exact opposite.
It's the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, they came and deliver mail.
Oh, I know. Well, I hate to say it, because so many of our friends, military, went over to Iraq, when I said there's weapons of mass destruction. But remember that whole thing? They went on for months, like detailing this whole, like showing graphics and everything. Like, okay, here's where the weapons of mass destruction are. And many it seemed like, this is the perfect decision. There's no question. There's nothing. Right?
Well, I don't necessarily believe there was nothing. I do, I would probably be not lying to think that he was attempting to get weapons of mass destruction, Hussein. Because he did try. There was a Canadian guy that was selling him. They were trying to put together this really long missile, and whatever it was, it's desert. They could have buried stuff all over the place.
Right.
And the real thought was that he knew that the Americans were coming, so he shipped everything that he had in terms of.
Right.
Because he did use mustard gas.
Well, okay, so that's a great point by you. So they made it such a public statement that there was weapons of mass destruction for weeks.
He got rid of them, or what he had. I don't know if he had completed weapons of mass destruction.
They had to have known that if they're going to make it public like that, then he's going to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Did they want him to get rid of them, or were they just stupid?
Well, I don't know what their thinking was, but here's my thought. Iran and Iraq, when they were stable, what I mean by stable, when Hussein was in there, they had like an 8-year war. So they were kind of like keeping themselves in check, right? Iran and Iraq, because they're fighting all the time. Now you remove him from Iraq, now you got Iran all alone to do what they want.
Right.
They didn't have to worry about Iraq. I'm not saying that any of that's good, but the world was a more stable place when that was the situation.
Right.
You created a vacuum there.
So did we intentionally create the vacuum?
Well, there were neocons like Paul Wolf. They thought that we can go into Iraq, get him out, and set up an American or a little democracy. It doesn't work.
Right.
Because first of all, you had tribal warfare between the Shiites, the Kurds, and the Sunnis in Iraq and Iran. It's a very complicated situation. And there's a different culture. Yeah. What works here is not going to work. And we fell into this false impression that we could go in and clean house and set up a little, Anytown USA, and that's not the case.
But it's amazing though that, and I agree with you on that statement too. It's amazing that they really thought that they could do it. They were so wrong that they didn't do any kind of homework. Did you see the movie Green Zone? I know it's a movie, so it's
did not, but I think what is that about Iraq?
Yeah. So Matt Damon's in it, and he was sent out to find these. He said to these locations to find the bombs, and kept coming back and saying there is no bombs.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got into the whole politics a little bit more near the end. And again, it's a movie, so we can't. But it kind of delved into that whole subject. Yeah.
Well, I think that we're pretty naive to think that, we had the Chinese diplomats came here last year, and Gavin Newsom cleaned up San Francisco, got rid of all the homeless, right? Because he knew the Chinese were coming. So if Hussein knew the Americans were coming, he's going to get rid of his weapons of mass destruction.
Right. Yeah, you
Maybe
think
it's
about
not a
that.
great analogy, but you get my point.
But no, but yeah, you think about that though, and I agree with you. It's like, okay, so for weeks you're broadcasting, you're advertising that there's weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
You would think that somebody would have been smart enough to think, okay, well, if he sees that, he's going to move those,
Sure.
or they were or there was a plan, there was a reason they were sending him a message. Hey, move these friggin' things here.
I mean, it was either bad intel or just a bad play, bad play calling.
Right. I guess the conspiracy theorists think they can't be that stupid. So they're doing it. They're sending a message to him to get, but to go through all that though, they've got the diplomatic, they can call him up. There's all these people around.
Yeah. There's, back channels and they try to deconflict, but I think the larger picture for me anyhow, from my vantage point is that we haven't learned.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent 20 years in that part of that region of the world. We accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
We left in the middle of the night and we left, like billions of dollars of sophisticated military hardware for the Taliban, which is a terror organization, and they control the country. So we spent all that treasure and blood and lost souls for what? It was just for nothing at the end of the day, And but we'll never know. We'll never know really what we were doing there.
Yeah. And then the thing,
or anywhere.
And so much about the money, like, are people going to make money because there's a war going on?
Well, that is something that's very true. Eric Prince, who founded, was the owner of Blackwater, former SEAL. He said that we'll have never-ending wars. It's just too much money in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a video a while back, I think it was on Instagram, where they're showing different, weapon systems. They would show like on a Navy vessel, like something that's shooting out 30 or 50 cal, like that, and they're running off the dollars.
Oh,
so it'll burst like, and it'll say $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those cruise missiles that we hear about, they're like $3 million a pop.
Right. And
so
then they sent a whole bunch
a lot of money.
Right.
Without war, they're not making money.
A whole bunch of missiles over to Israel just last couple of days.
Yeah, a system. Yeah, it looked like some kind of Golden Dome type of thing. Not Golden Dome.
Iron Dome, or what they call it.
Iron Dome. Yeah.
Gold's better. See, that's the kind of guy you are, because
I'm thinking.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know the whole that, and you're right. You think to yourself, we really don't know. We have no clue what's going on behind the scenes.
Beth and I were talking about it last night. I said, look, all we can do is keep our head down.
Yeah.
And just worry about what we can worry about here.
Okay. Now you've got me on a subject. I'm glad you touched on it in a weird kind of way. Prepping.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this? So there's some people they call it doomsday prepping. Mark's got to go. Mark's gone. We lost him. I know he's probably got a phone call. I think he's got a client at 12 o'clock. So if we lost him, we lost him. But we were talking about, we'll talk about it next week when Mark's on. We'll be on again at 11 o'clock next week. So everybody, take care of yourself out there. I know we have not been on as much lately in the past, but we still got all the issues with mental health issues and the 988 hotline and shoulder check and all that. So hope everybody's doing well. Again, happy Thanksgiving to anybody up in Canada. Happy Columbus Day. Look at the parade. Oh, there he is. He's back. I'm glad we waited for him.
But prepping. So what was the question?
So there's doomsday prepping, and people think, well, you're preparing for the end of time, like a nuclear blast. But particularly because of all the hurricanes that have happened lately, there's also just prepping for a hurricane. There's a power go out, food shortage, water.
So a generator.
Yep.
Everybody should have a generator if they live in a location where this is frequent. A source of clean water, so your own water filtration system. Back up with some kind of non-perishable foods, right? And then security, because you're gonna have looting, you're gonna have all kinds of stuff going on.
Right.
In terms of doomsday, put your head between your legs and kiss your.
Oh yeah.
Really, what's the point anyway? Yeah.
If somebody's dropping nuclear bombs, I'd rather walk out there and get hit in the head with a bomb. Yeah. But I do tell you, I agree with you, and I've done a lot more research. There's a lot of sources out there, and generator is a good topic. So I live here in a condominium complex. We're not allowed to have a propane or natural gas power generator, but there's all those solar generators. There's a company out there called 4 Patriots. The number 4 seems like they're big, and they make a lot of the foods that can be stored for years as well. There's a really interesting topic about bugging in and bugging out.
So the prepping is one thing, but the bug out bags where people assemble it may work in certain parts of the country, but I can't even get to the grocery store on a good day.
Yeah.
And it's a click away in under 10 minutes. So the point is that you saw the pictures of people trying to exit Florida. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, true. So bugging, but then so there's bugging out, which is being prepared to like either stuff in your car or
Throw it
something.
in your car and go. Yeah.
Just go. Backpacks and everything. And again, like you said, it's hard to really pack a lot of food. You can do a lot of things like bring knives and things to, fish, all that kind of stuff. But bugging in is another topic as well, where you can't leave and you got to stay in your home.
Yeah.
And like you said, doing things. And what is interesting too is doing things like thinking of like filling up your bathtub. If there's going to be a water shortage, fill up the bathtub so you've got water. There's all kinds of these filters that kind of like straws where you can drink and purify the water.
Yeah, pure water is a great. It's called the pure water straw. In fact, I just ordered one.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's good for a year.
Yeah.
And then like you could put stuff in your washer and dryer. Like
another interesting tip I felt that in a flood situation, if you have to leave your home, put all your valuables in the dishwasher and lock the dishwasher.
Right.
It's sealed tight.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about
that? Yeah,
because
it's watertight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
But there's like even things like wanting to have a fire extinguisher in the home. Mm-hmm. And people think, well, where's it more likely to have a fire? So you think of places like your washing machine, the dryer, that kind of stuff. And people think, well, I need to put my fire extinguisher in by the dryer. Well, no, you don't want it by the dryer if that's going to catch fire. Yeah. But things like that you don't think about,
right?
Because you're not.
You want to be able to get to it to get to the dishwasher.
Yeah. How about the other thing is too? Now you're trained more, and obviously, like our buddy like Bill Brown is a retired Navy SEAL. But if you've got weapons in your home, like shotguns and that, if you're really not trained, like to load the weapon quickly and shoot it, you're almost better off to not have it, right?
All right, I'm going to wrap it up on this point.
Yeah.
If it comes to firearms, you need to be trained up, and you need to continue that training. You can't go to a weekend course and figure it for the rest of my life.
Right.
So you need to completely train, and then you have to understand tactics. You have to understand a fatal fire. Take a look at your place and say, what would I do? Where would I go? Where are my kids? Where's my loved ones? John McPhee, who was a Delta guy, he made a great point. Because in terms of home protection, you're not clearing rooms. That's offensive. You're defensive. So have a strong point. As he put it, I could kill somebody with a broomstick from my strong point. So in other words, I'll give you a real good example. Strong point. You come in here, you got to go upstairs to get to us, and then you got to make a turn. I'm going to greet you.
Right.
There's no other way to get to me unless you do that. I'm going to greet you.
So again, unless you're a real, almost like an expert with firearms, and if you've got other people in the home with you, like if you got your kids or whatever, I mean, you may be causing more damage than you are.
Well, and again, I apologize. I have to go after this, but I also was told if you do have an unfortunate situation and there's a home invasion and you get your gun and you kill somebody, when you call, first of all, you say, there's been a shooting, and that's it. You don't get into details because that could be used as evidence against you later on.
Right.
More importantly, you say, send 2 ambulances. Why 2? One for him and one for you, because you're probably going to have a breakdown.
Oh, really?
Well, most people go through the whole lives without killing somebody. So it's not a very cool situation.
Yeah, I never thought about that, right? Yeah. But that is the thing. Like, okay, so if somebody breaks into your home, you've got to load your weapon. Think of how nervous you're going to be. The adrenaline's just pumping through your veins, right? So, yeah. Interesting. All right, brother, what do you got? A client coming up?
Yeah, I got somebody right now. All
right, but you're a magical human. We get him. Patriot Training Systems, Mr. Mark Puttenfink can train anybody in any planet, anywhere, any alien, one head, 2 heads.
And piano, if you need somebody for like a cocktail.
Yes, definitely. All right, brother. Have a great week. See you, buddy.
See you.